Okay.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the American Legion Post 223. Hope we get some folks interested in the drone program. Here's Dr. Cobb. Pass it over.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting us do this here. I'm Dr. Cobb. I'm the judge advocate of this organization. I sit here when we have a meeting once a month, and I'm also the director of MECATX. So basically, what we're doing at this point is finalizing the FAA Drone Awareness Week from last week. It was from the 4th through the 10th, and today was the day that recreational pilots were supposed to take their drones out and fly them, and I'm not sure that they're doing that here in Texas anyway. So what we have is a little bit of a synopsis of everything that should have been covered last week related to drones, so you understand the basics of them, and then also why you need to understand the safety that goes with it. Drones are very valuable in our society. Yeah. Anyway, drones are very valuable in our society, and moving forward, it's a multi-million-dollar business. And by the year 2024, I think it is, it's going to be 100 to 200, I think, new jobs just in the drone world. So we're trying to get a lot of the young people ready for that. So what we're going to tend to do here under the American Legion banner is to start a drone club. Okay? There are drone clubs now in schools and different places throughout the world in the United States. So we intend to start one here. We'll probably have another meeting, a little bit less set up than this here. Each month we'll cover a different subject. Obviously, what we need to get ready for is Christmas. People buying drones, I think it was 200,000 or 300,000 drones were bought at one Christmas before last. And the children and the adults need to know the new laws related to that, how to keep the kids safe and how to keep other people safe. So we'll be covering that as the new laws and the new drone technology advances. So hopefully we'll hold that one somewhat before Christmas, a week or two before Christmas, for anybody who intends to buy a drone for their child at Christmas time. So what we want to do today is give you pretty much a bird's eye view of the different levels of drones. So basically we've got here Bob Hill, who is a professional drone pilot, who's got what's called Part 107, which means you have to take the test, just like being a pilot, and pass the test, and then you can do things commercially. So if you don't do that, you cannot use a drone commercially, which means you can't basically make a penny on it. If you make a penny, then you're commercial, and you've got to go to a different set of rules, and so on. So anyway, Bob's going to talk to us about his experience and what he's done. He lives in Copper's Cove. He's given one class for us before. And the other thing I want you to make sure that you are aware of and realize that what we do, for example, this is going out on the internet, live now. Not only does it go out on the internet, but it goes up on YouTube and other video formats, and people look at our stuff from around the world. On the MECATX, if you look there, I think we have something like 30,000 subscribers. That means the people that follow what we do from around the world. One of the high-tech piece of equipment we've got over there, we made a video a few years ago. The boy is now an engineer at school who will graduate this year, and he's had 200,000 views on how to put that piece of equipment together. So not only are we teaching a few people here, but we are actually informing and teaching people from around the world at the same time. So keep that in mind. Tell people that we do it. And we need people looking at those videos. So, Bob, you take it? I'll talk from there to Mike, or can you talk loud?
Well, let's see. Can you hear me? Can't hear me, raise your hand. I guess they heard me. So I'll go without that one. Okay, a couple of quick things in housekeeping. I'm Bob Hill, and I am in fact an old guy. So when I say something, if I say something like I like something, or I don't like something, that means that I like something, or I don't like something. There's no other meaning to that. I don't like politically correct nonsense.
Well,
So, okay, I'm dressed in orange. Wow, isn't that nice? Look nice, right? Right. The only person out here I'm afraid of is that man right there. He embarrassed me into getting my general license. I've been a technician for umpteen years. He went ahead and made me do it. Anyway, I wear orange when I'm flying. I want to be seen when I'm flying. I want people to know. Maybe I have combs, I didn't bring them in because it was too windy, but I set around my area to distinguish an area that I don't want you coming inside when I'm flying. Because when I'm flying, I'm playing safety. I'm an old safety freak. These things can hurt you. If I hurt myself with this, I'm not gonna be happy. If I hurt somebody else with this, I'm quitting. So you've got to think safety in everything. And you probably hear me say that several times during the 20 minutes I'm going to do it. That's what I do while I'm thinking of it. Just take this out, pretend like I know what I'm doing, put on cloth and put it on timer. 'Cause I don't want to get fired at the time limit. So what I'm going to talk about today is mostly the commercial aspect of flying drones. You already know about the fun side. Now, it's fun when I make money, but I fly just for fun a lot of times too. Okay? The commercial side, I heard someone say, if you make a penny, I'm going, I've done that a little before. In fact, in San Angelo, I was flying, I was licensed at that time, and I was shooting a car show for somebody, 2 or 3 cars specifically. Okay? Somebody brought me something to drink, and wouldn't you know it, there was an FAA man watching. He walked over to excuse himself. He says, did you pay for that? I said, no, sir. He says, are you licensed? I just smiled. I said, yes, I am. He could have shut me down. Okay? That's the only time I've had an FAA inspector even talk to me. Okay? So, anyway, if you folks don't mind, I'm going to sit down up here. Maybe the camera won't be able to see me if I sit, right? Okay. Let me touch these drones to start with. This was my first drone. Okay, this is a toy. Now, it has a camera for it, I just don't have it on this. I did take pictures. The camera was a toy also, but I had fun. I wouldn't fly this outside here on a calm day, let alone a day like today. I wouldn't fly these today. This is my workhorse. This drone has bought many a lunch. This drone has paid for itself. This drone bought me this drone, which is much bigger and more advanced. So there is money to be made. We'll do the safety thing first. One of the things you want to do every time you touch the drone to fly it is check it out. When you're flying an actual aircraft, it's called a pre-flight. With an actual aircraft, the manufacturer gives you a checklist and you go through it. There's no checklist for these. Common sense will tell you to make sure the props are on there good and that nothing's broken. You go online, you'll find lots of people who have written up checklists which will guide you through it. Basically, all of them, even the little micros that they fly, you check certain things. Obviously, props. You want to make sure they're not broken and they're attached well. I shouldn't do that, should I? You check all kinds of things. You check your batteries, make sure your batteries are charged. You check your area, you check weather. Those are all the things you do before you fly, even if you're not commercial. If you go outside, you're going to fly, and it's like saying, you don't have to go too far to know I'm not flying today. But if you check that and there's a problem, and they come and ask you, you can show them that you did a check. Okay. When I'm flying for myself in my backyard, I always call it in and get a weather briefing. My reason being, if I have flyaway and it crashes, it causes damage, at least I can show them I checked, the weather was calm. So it's a liability thing. Also, up here, I'm aware that I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it through carelessness. So, all right, let's go ahead and look at the commercial licensing. You already know that if you make money, you need to be commercial. The money doesn't have to be cash money. If you do something and they give you something for it, not cash money, that's commercial. If you take pictures of your own farm to see where you need to go out and put certain chemicals or whatever, that's commercial, because that farm is commercial. The connection is, it's commercial. You need to be licensed. Probably the hardest thing to figure out sometime is, how do you get your drone license? What do you have to do? It can be involved, it can be difficult, but it's not, I shouldn't say difficult. It can be tedious. You study for other things. You have to study for this one. I've already told you, if you're flying for fun, you don't need a license. If you're flying commercially in any way, shape, or form, you need to have the license. And I honestly recommend do it. Get your license, because if you don't, and I know you're flying commercially and you're not licensed, I'm not your friend, I'll turn you in a heartbeat, because one person go out there and do something like that, and it's going to change the rules for all of us. We have to be self-policing. Same thing in radio, right, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
We need to take care of ourselves and make sure we're legal, because if we don't, the FCC is going to come in and they're going to shut it down and take rights away from other people that are using radio. Ways to get your license: you can study on your own. The internet is full of information. You can take a course online if you want. I prefer online because I can do it on my time as many times as I want. You can also go to a certified ground school and do it that way. That's very expensive. It's time consuming, and for some of you have to get rides to it. In my case, I'd have to find the time to go do it. So that's it. Getting the license, there's some requirements. One, you got to be 16. Sorry, Eric. But you still want to pay attention to this type of stuff and start learning the laws and the rules now, because they're going to affect you. There's a lot of new rules that came in just recently. Is that correct, Doctor? For the recreational flyers. So there's going to be rules there too. Basically, we can't fly over 400 feet. I don't see why we're going over 200 feet, because most of the work I do is at 200 or less. A lot of my work is up close. If I was doing the farmer's field, I'd be a little bit higher depending on what I was doing. You have to pass a knowledge test, and that's the book work. And there's work to it. You have to study. You have to study. You have to study. I don't like studying, but you have to study. Because when you go and take that test, and that test is not free, by the way, that test is not even cheap. That test is $150 just for the test. If you fail the test, you get one free retake. If you fail that, it's another $150. So you want to study. You want to know what you're doing. There are practice tests you can take all over the internet. The FAA has a site where they have the practice test. Now, they all use the same set of questions, so once you know them, you're good. Doesn't matter where you learn them. But you have to take that test. You also have to have a background check. The transportation people will do that. That's done invisible to you, but it's done when you apply for your license, and they do that. So there's a possibility if you're a bad guy, you won't get the license, and they'll know where you live. So the background check, yeah, that's pretty good. And once you have your license, you have to retest every 2 years. You have to. Now, there's no aeronautical, there's no flying test you take, but they can come up and ask you to fly. They can come up and ask to see your aircraft and see your license and everything else. This one right now is licensed the old-fashioned way. You can't see the registration number anywhere. It's in the battery compartment. This one is right on the back here in the open. I'm going to put them on the outside because that saves a lot of questions should you have an inspector. Now, the FAA isn't the only people that can come and look at your aircraft. Law enforcement, they come and ask, see your license, your registrations. They can't take your aircraft unless you're doing something extremely stupid, and then, but if you're doing that, you deserve it. Once you have it, you have to keep your license up to date. That's every 24 months. You have to make all of that available to the FAA or law enforcement at their request. Another thing you have to do, these are some of the things you have to do when you have a commercial license. If you have an accident and you cause more than $500 damage, you must file a report. If you, like an old man that I know, flew his drone into a tree, yeah, you don't have to file a report. If you dive into the ground and break the drone, you don't have to file a report. You hit something or somebody, you file a report. If there's an injury or damage, $500 more, you have to file a report. It's not a big deal, but that's one of the reasons you want to follow the rules and do the weather briefing, check everything around you before you fly. That'll help lessen the problem if there's a problem. We already talked about the $150. Now that's a scary number, really. After that, though, there's no more money to the FAA. But if you want to fly for business, all kinds of little fees you're going to have to pay there. You're going to have to collect sales tax. I'm not going to tell you all the paperwork involved, but these are the things you have to think of. You're going to have to pay for advertising and everything else. So you want to do something where somebody's going to pay the bills. Okay. Now, as far as back to the study, the average person takes about 15 to 20 hours of studying to pass your license. In my case, it took a little bit longer. Okay, I didn't feel I was ready. I took the test. I failed a couple, and went back restudying. But the studying is very important on that one. I told you the FAA has a site, and I like their test because we know the actual questions. Well, everybody else has the same thing. They have this question pool, like in ham radio. You study the pool of questions, you'll pass the test. So, once you pass the test, it'll take the FAA about 6 to 8 weeks to get your certificate to you. However, you can get a temporary one, which you carry with you. If you have that in your possession, mine is always in one of my cases over there. If you have that with you, you have all the rights that go with that license. So that's not a problem. Okay, so we've got a license, we've got a drone. What are we going to do? I told you some things you can do. There are a lot of people out there who will pay you to take pictures. And I don't necessarily mean big companies, because they're hiring, but you have to be willing to travel. I'm not. You have to be willing to settle for whatever they want. I'm not. I do this more for fun than anything else. But say this drone is paid for the others. I've taken pictures of houses, not for real estate, for people. There's a guy that comes around here every 2 or 3 years and tries to drum up business, taking pictures of your house at the tune of about $500-something. He's flying a fixed wing, so he can't get down close enough to get a good shot. He's got a big property, it's good. But I don't know about you, but I'm not giving anybody $500 to take a picture of my house. I'll get up on a step ladder up a tree first. But for something like this, you can. I figure I can go out for $50 and shoot for a half hour, which is about what my batteries will give me. Okay, that's pretty good money. I am retired, so I'm not living on that. But even if we had to live on it, still, I think the average for most of the big drone companies, they're getting anywhere from $150 on up. But a lot of them do motion pictures, and that really demands money. Now, I do video, but I'm going to tell us to be quiet. I normally say shut up, but I try to be nice to you folks. There is as many different things out there. I drive down the road and I look and I see a car dealer who rearranges cars, and I picture what it looks like from the air. I will go and talk to him, see if I can get permission to take a picture. I'll go take the picture, I'll give him a copy. I give him my card. I usually get a call back. Can I come and do his other showrooms, things like that. Roof inspections. Folks out in Waco call me to go and inspect the roof from the air, so they didn't have to go out and send 2 guys up on the roof. He told me he saved several $100s by doing that. And I was able to do it again on one battery. That's about 20 to 25 minutes. It would have taken them a couple hours to do the full inspection plus the travel time. So anything you can think of that you would like to get a picture of, somebody else will probably like that picture. The insurance industry, that's a hard one to get into, but sometimes they will have you take pictures. I've gone out and taken pictures of accidents, really messy ones. Always get permission to do it from the police. That's their house as far as I'm assuming they're doing that one. But the insurance companies would love to have pictures like that. Yes, you have to fly and take a chance to buy it, but you know what? I love to fly. I think most of you folks will love to fly too, but you get something bigger and get outside. It'll have even more fun. How much money can you make with a drone license? Depends on how much you want to make. Let's say I'm retired. I don't have to work. I love to work. That's why I'm still moving. I love to fly. To me, that's a good match. The last paying job I had was probably about 2 months ago. And I'm comfortable with that. Of course, there's been terrible weather between then and now too, so I wouldn't have gone out. Let me go back to the safety aspect. Okay. These things go fast. The problem. These big ones, and this isn't a big one, this is well under 55 pounds. My license allows me to fly a drone up to 55 pounds. That's pretty big. Or hanging things under other cameras. They're dangerous. If you hit something, these are plastic, they can break, and they become shrapnel. They fly out, hit other things. So you need to make sure of where you are. That's why I have the cones. I block my truck off. I usually fly out of the back of my truck. You mark it off who it is. You don't let people come in. But one other thing I didn't mention, and you already know if you're flying a drone at all, line of sight. That means you, the pilot in command, can see your aircraft. When you get into these size, you can have a crew member who has line of sight and direct radio communications, not with amateur radio. This has to be something quicker. You don't have to worry about it. Cell phone's good for that. They can see the aircraft. You can rely on them. But you always want to know where your aircraft is. If you get it behind a tree, you're wrong. You need to see where it is. If behind that tree, if the wind blows, or if there's a kid down there throwing rocks, or whatever. That's more of a safety thing. It's a legal thing too, but a safety thing. Pre-flights, post-flights. Post-flight is another thing. That's just as important as a pre-flight. When I fly this thing, when I land, I'm putting it away. I'll make it put it away and take it home, and then I check it, because I may have made a hard landing and cracked the strut. The strut's not going to affect its flying. But if I land again, I don't have to land hard to break it, and then it's down the ground, the blade breaks, goes off, and gets something or something. So those things are important on that. Even though it's commercial, have fun. I don't think I have to tell you folks that. You fly for fun now. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it? You don't have to do it. Now, in my case, if I accept a job, I have to do it. It's even better when you're having fun doing it. I think I've covered basically what commercial is, how to get the license, how to keep it renewed. I know I've covered safety several ways. I don't know, I have a few minutes left. Can I ask for questions?
Sure.
Any questions? And
That
keep it simple,
that
please.
$150 that you pay to get your license, and you said you have to renew it every 2 years, so it's another $150 when you renew it?
That's why I'm probably not taking mine until the 1st of January, or the beginning of January.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you said you
now
have to
if
be 16 to take to get a
You have to be
license?
16 to take the license. Now, there are people who go out and get the license, and they're paying to take the test. You can do all that, but you're not going to get a license. To me, that's a waste of money. You can study the law without having to take that test. And if you're going to fly recreationally, you don't need the license.
Oh, okay. That's
So, now there are some new rules out there for the recreational flyers. They're going to be restricted from certain places. I'm restricted. I cannot fly on coast. I cannot fly over prisons. Wonder why I can't take anybody else with this thing. You can't fly over infrastructure. I take pictures of the railroad trains all the time. I don't fly directly over them. I'm at least 50 feet on either side of the right of way, because it's illegal to fly over that. That's infrastructure. You can't fly. You're not supposed to fly over bridges, power plants, anything like that, because the bad guy always wins. People get out there and they make problems. That's why we have to go through metal detectors in the airport, that's why we have to do, they've done something stupid. That's why I say, if you do something, and I know about it, I'm gonna talk to you, but I'm also gonna turn you in. Because you're gonna mess it up for everybody else who's doing it the right way. That's not a threat, folks, honestly. That's more of a promise. Okay, so be professional if you're gonna fly professionally.
So if you're doing a recreational, like him, if he wants to, just fly it and stuff, you still have to register the drone? Like he's got a drone that he got for Christmas last year. Does he have to register that drone?
They had a weight restriction on that, and the thing is, and I honestly don't know the current rules for recreational flying. But it's best to register. If nothing else, if something happens, you say, hey, I'm registered.
But you don't have to be 16 to register it.
No. The 16 is for the commercial
For the
license.
commercial.
13.
13, well, he's not 13 yet, so I guess he can.
Can do it.
Well, yeah, see, if he's flying with somebody else, I can take anybody here that's not licensed, you could fly with me on a commercial mission and be perfectly legal, as long as I'm there where I can get control of it if something goes wrong. Now, it's like a student driver, they can drive as long as they're licensed driving the car. So there's a lot of loopholes, like anything, but if you go after the loopholes, you find you get caught in. So there's a lot of things like that. Any other questions? Sir?
How much, if you don't mind me asking, did the drones on the table there cost? And what kind of an investment do you recommend for beginners like Mark?
I've heard some of the prices that I've heard, and they're nowhere near what they said. This one here was, I had $18.50 in it. New they sold for 20-something, $2,000. This particular one goes for more. This one is 25 to 27, just the basic, the aircraft, a battery, and a controller. Okay. That one was about $35, and it was a gift. So,
That sounds good.
these unfortunately were not gifts, but this one here is my baby. This is paid for this one and a lot of other things. So, and I don't pursue this as a full-time job. This is just the occasional job, the fun job of doing. Somebody says, "Can I get copies of that?" I said, "Well, I don't know how to do that. I'll pay for them." Yes, you can. So, but yeah, it can be expensive. The drone I would love to have is about $42,000. So obviously, I'm never going to have that because for $42,000, I can get something a lot more useful.
Right?
And I know I said commercial. These are toys to me. I don't treat them like toys, but they're a hobby. So this is a hobby that can pay for itself. That other one would have to be. I'd have to be pushing that one 40 hours a week, just to feel right about having it. So, anyone else? Easy crowd.
Okay?
Okay.
You don't have it.
One other thing I'm going to do is I've got some business cards with me. No, I don't expect to be one to have me fly for you. But on it is my email address. If you want to email me anything about drones or even radio, I'd be happy to help you with it. I enjoy sharing.
Anybody want one? Okay, stop the cameras a minute.
Clark. This is Calvin. The brothers. We've been working on drones. We're currently using the Mavic Air.
So I'm just gonna, talk a little bit about, like flying a drone as like a hobby, for fun. He talked about, flying it professionally, but so, of course, if you want to have fun, you gotta be safe, because if you're not safe, then, getting injured isn't fun. Okay, so one thing you'll want to do, when you get a drone is like, the propellers are very, dangerous. I once hit a tree. It's only happened once, but when the leaves went into it, when I got the drone back, right, it was totally covered in powder, and the powder was from the leaves, and so it's gonna shred your finger off. So you're gonna have to be really careful when flying these drones. Like, you don't want to fly it over people. Okay, that's one of the rules. So just be very careful. Is that better? Okay, so that is very important. And the other thing you're going to want to do is line of sight. He talked about that, but line of sight is incredibly important because you can lose the drone. Luckily, in case there's high wind, which this thing does pretty good against that, there is a return to home button, which is like a lifesaver. It's like the best thing on the drone, in my opinion. The other thing, well, there's lots of things. So for footage, this doesn't have a lot of space. It has like 8 gigabytes, but when you're recording, that goes down really fast. And so you can get, micro SD cards. They're not super expensive. They're about $30 for 60 gigs. And so you plop that in the drone, and then you can fly that around and get some cool footage. And we've done house shots of our house, just to show it around. We've also, my Uncle Grant wanted to know what his house looked like from the top, so we just showed him what that looked like. And there's pictures right there. That's his house, and that's him filming the drone flying right over his house. He really enjoyed that. That's our house right there. And we flew around there, and this is from a video. We just took a screenshot, and what's that doing? There's a mode where you can fly over the house and it will circle any object you want. So for example, you want to show off your cool cars or whatever, you can have it circle it and it will do it perfectly, because it's really hard, and I mean really hard, to do a perfect circle with the controller. There's also a mode where, tracking, which is really cool. You can do some really cool bike shots. Like we had Clark on a bike, and there's a tracking mode, and we put it on the trike. And then he, biked around our house a lot. And what was really cool about that is he tried to outrun the drone, and he failed, but then eventually he went behind a tree and it lost track.
It was it was great.
And then I think the hardest thing I ever took a picture of was, we had a car and I was sitting, in the front seat, and I had to look behind because, I have to see the drone at all times. And we had the drone follow the car down the road. It looked really cool. Sadly, we don't have the footage of that because that's on the drone card and we lost that. So, yeah, that's somewhere in our house. The drone itself it's one of the newer models, and it cost about $800. Luckily, we're able to, through MECATX, we can borrow the drone for free. We just have to do stuff like this and, learn about it, because learning's important. There's a new drone coming out, which is a lot less. It's around $300, and it's called the Mavic Mini, and it's a lot smaller. It's about half that size, and I think it's quieter, and there's lots of really cool features on that, like this one has. So, but for this drone, you have to have a phone with it, and that may seem annoying, but the fact that when you put the phone in, you can see what the drone sees, it makes the flight a lot easier, because being able to see what the drone sees, it feels more like a video game and not like Google Earth is what it feels like. You know, you just, the drone flies so well that it doesn't seem like you're flying a drone, it just seems like you're just floating there, because it doesn't move whatsoever. When I first turned it on, and it just stayed there, and stayed perfectly, it was like magic. And it can go pretty high, but remember, the max is 400 feet, and it's programmed in there that it won't go higher than that. It will go up and it'll start beeping, and it'll stop at exactly 399. And at that point, you can hardly even see it. And so there's also laws about how you're not supposed to go over people's property unless you have permission. Like how we had permission to go over my uncle's house because he wanted to see what his house looked like. And you can go over you can, if you're like, you can't go over someone's house and like spy on them, like, you know, it's creepy. You can go over someone's property, but like, kind of. Well, where we live in the middle of nowhere. You can't tell. There's not a lot of houses like anywhere whatsoever, so it's a really good place. And there's no airports because you can't fly near airports because, you know, it can mess up the signals, or you can hit an airplane. Imagine that. Yeah. So the other, like, you know, last couple things I want to talk about is there's attachments. You know, there's an attachment that goes on this that can make it so you don't hit like a blade protector. And I've used it, but it wasn't very good because it weighed down the drone, and the drone started freaking out because it thought it was carrying something, and it like wanted to go down, but I wanted it to go up, and so it's like this constant struggle, and eventually it just wouldn't fly whatsoever. So I don't really use that. And the one thing, you know, if you're getting into drone flying, that I highly suggest is power lines. Like, are killers. Like, you can't see them on the drone. The drone has automatic sensors, which is like another great feature about it. If it's about to crash into something, it will stop. You can turn that on and off, but just keep it on. It's just so much easier. And it will stop and avoid it, and it will do it with people too, anything. But the problem with power lines is because they're so small, the little sensors right here and here can't sense it, and so it will keep going and you'll hit it. And I once got a power line stuck to it, and it was like, you know, jiggling around, and, you know, the camera, and I was starting to freak out, and then it just like fixed itself. It was pretty nice. But yeah, so be careful about power lines. That's my advice to you. Avoid them, like, if you can, but sometimes you can't. But the drone will do fine against that. And there's lots of different options. You know, DJI drones are great drones. Like, they're, you know, I would buy a DJI drone if I suggested anyone to you. The price is kind of like, I mean, $300 for the Mini, that's a lot of money, but it's like reliable. Like the toy drone, he let us borrow one of those, and that was the practice one that we got. And when we first got it, I tried really hard to get those things to work right, but it said charge for 90 minutes, and you plug it in, and you have to wait 2 nights, you know, like 2 days, to finally have enough charge that it would fly for 5 minutes. And so that drone was extremely hard to get, but it was kind of good because by the time you could get it to work, you know, if you can fly that thing, you can fly anything. So, yeah, that's just about it. There's lots of information here about how, you know, we've got drones that can plant trees now, which are really cool. It flies over and it scans the area. And so in about 30 days after a big forest fire, because, you know, when forest fires come through, a lot of times what happens is they can't plant trees fast enough, and so we lose the trees. And so what they'll do is they'll fly over and they'll drop it, and they'll replant the trees, and like, they can do up to 80 acres in 8 hours, which is 6 times faster than a human can plant trees. The other things that drones can do is, you know, we've got that one from NASA, which it can swim and go on land, which is kind of impressive if you ask me. But so what that does is, you know, because humans can't go in some places, and so drones can. I mean, if you're gonna buy drones for Christmas, what I suggest doing is you should go to the FFA and you should look at the flight restrictions, because there's some rules, and you can, get a fine if you break some of them. So the ones that are most important for me is line of sight isn't very important. The second one is not flying over people, because you can hit them on the head. It's really dangerous. The other one is not flying too high, and I think the last one is it's just not going over someone's property. Like how would you like it if you go outside and there's just a drone, watching you? Because there's the camera's good on it. You can get detail from these pictures that you probably can't see because you're in the audience. But yeah, so I'm gonna hand the time over to Clark.
Why don't you talk about NASA when you're right now? Went to the drone lab.
So I couldn't find anything online for it, but this summer I went down to Houston for a NASA thing, and one of the things we did there was they called it Drone Lab or Swarm Lab, and so they didn't actually fly drones; they were programming swarms. So there were three different swarms. There were three different swarms, which were just formations, and then there was another version that they would add to it, and it would make it so that the drones would. Well, let me back up. So the purpose of the swarm lab was to make it so that drones were harder to shoot out of the sky. They were talking about how this has several applications, like all these things, but I'm pretty sure it was just for military. If you have a drone and you don't want to shoot out of the sky, that's because someone's going to shoot at it. So, surely, okay, I'm not going to get into that. But, so the drone was set up so that it wouldn't be shot out of the sky. The way they did this is, the way our human eyes work is, and our brain is, we track things and then we look and see where the turns are. Where the turns are, all of the, birds, what we're used to, they group up and there's like there's this knot. And if you shoot a shotgun there, chances are you're gonna hit something because there's a huge cluster there. But with drones, it's the same way. If there's a swarm of drones and they make a turn, then there's this cluster where you can hit an extra bunch, and that's where the human brain tells you to shoot. That's where logic tells you to shoot. So you shoot there. But this setup made it so that the drones would randomly shift, and it was completely random, which is something analog brains can't really do. So there's no way for humans to predict it, and it would fly and it would shift, and you couldn't even see the shift. It was a virtual reality simulator. So someone would put on a headset and they would try and see if they can get hits down, and then you wouldn't know which ones were shifting or not, and I couldn't tell, but a friend of mine did it, and he shot down what he could, and it was interesting to see that there was a difference, and you couldn't see it with your mind, you could just see it in the fact that his scores changed. Like there were three that he took. The first two he did really good, and the third one it was about half that. It was just interesting, and it wasn't the difference in drone speed or even formation, it was just the fact that it shifted and changed.
I just want to say we're pleased to have these young high-achieving boys with us here. We're always interested in recruiting young ones. Anybody wants to join us, you're welcome to come and participate in the subjects that we're teaching at that particular time. Both of these young gentlemen are Boy Scouts. They both have the Radio Boy Scout badge. This young gentleman here just passed the radio license, so he's not got the radio license. So they're all moving forward, and we intend to help them as much as we can. So I also like to thank the mother for bringing them from a long ways. They're coming from at least an hour away to be participating in our activities. So thank you all that just got this exhibit done for today. So thank you.
Wasn't on the cameras yet.
Just a matter of interest, you should. Ready? Rolling? Okay, this is Alex. Alex been working with drones now for what, a year? 2 years? A year. Okay. And he's also been working with MECA on radio. Alex has got the 3 radio licenses, technician, general, external, and general, right? So he's one of our master radio, amateur radio people. So anyway, this was an exhibit that he did for May, for a tech class at a school. And we were hoping that they would start a drone club. They were supposed to start a drone club, and we and he was going to be part of that. As far as we know, they haven't started it, but hopefully maybe in the spring semester they will. But he's going to tell you about his experience with the drones, and this is his experience. So, Tom.
Into the mic. Into the mic.
So I don't really have much, but my project was how drones work and what they can do. And the first thing I did was I have the general rules for flying drones, and the main ones are to select a safe site to fly where there aren't that many people, and then that you can't fly within 5 miles of an airport, and that, well, one of the things that Bob was talking about that you didn't know for the recreational flying is that you must register a drone if it's over 5.5 pounds. And then the next few they were already mentioned, that you must have it under 400 feet, and that it has to be kept in line of sight. And this one they didn't say, but it's never fly at night. And then the last one is respect others' privacy by not taking pictures without their permission. In the middle, I have that the drones could be used for the film industry, photography, recreation, real estate pictures, emergency services, and military uses. And I have two of the drone. One of them I've worked with, the other one I just got so that I could use it to show on here. And the one that I worked with is the code drone, which is programmable. It used to work good, but I don't know what happened to it, and for some reason it just ended up going straight as soon as it took off. And then on the other side I have the Alfie Plus, and underneath each of them I have a picture. This side it's a drone being used for a search and rescue, and it's the wide angle view. And then on this side you may not be able to see it, but I'll manage to. You still might not, but it's the drone view of Lost Plane with the drone zooming in. On this side, on top of the code drone, I have the different parts of it. And at my house, I have a different top side, which has a camera. And this, you can take everything apart, which means you could take off the propeller guards, and that truly makes it unsafe for whenever you're flying near people or inside. So I wouldn't recommend taking off the propeller guards. And then in the middle, underneath the things that the drones could be used for, is a little article I wrote about an aerial view of your fields, and it's just giving a small part of what drones could do for agricultural. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I want to go over a few things related to drones for those of you who are here and do and going to buy drones. We've got 2 or 3 years of experience here of drones that you can get your hands on, look at them, and see why we like them or why we don't like them, what we use them for, how we use them for teaching and non-teaching and so on. So from the standpoint of drones, I told you the foldable ones. This is one of the new ones came out with a competitor of DJI. It's another Japanese company, interesting enough. Chinese, they seem to have the drone world pretty well tied up. But anyway, the advantage of this one is it's a foldable drone we talked about, but it does one of the things that we and a lot of people are looking for. Many of the drone people now are using them for photography and videos. They're actually making videos and movies with these. No, instead of helicopters. Helicopters are expensive and very time-consuming to maintain them and so on. The drones will do a lot of what a helicopter does because it can fly up to 400 feet. The resolution on these cameras is unbelievable. Okay, it's the resolution of professional cameras now in a very tiny camera. The advantage of this one here is that they've come out, this is the first company's come out with that, where you can take the video from there and put it out yourself. So one of the things that MECA has done over a period of the last 10 or 15 years is we're going out on the internet now. If she puts it on some parts of the internet, it can be watched anywhere in the world. For January, when we did our lunar eclipse event, which this young lady did, it was watched live in New Zealand, on that side of the ocean, and as far as England on the other side. So we've got a lot of followers and a lot of people who are interested in this. The problem is we could not put up to now drone video out over it. We could put it out from a microscope, our biology stuff. We could put it out from a telescope, our astronomy stuff. But we couldn't put out drones, despite the fact that we had a lot of drone technology and video. The problem was it was not really easy and compatible with the rest of the world of equipment. Now they have made what they call a live deck, a little black box that will sit right there, pick up that signal from the drone up in the sky, and plug it into the computer. And it will do it with Ethernet, a USB, and an HDMI. So you can have 3 external video devices going at the same time. So right now in the drone market, for the around the $1,000 market, this is the one that a lot of people are going to. Fire departments, police departments, and so on, who are first responders. Because if you've got a drone and somebody flying the drone, and you have a police car there, and a police car here, and another one here, everybody wants to see it. So now you can put up a big screen for TV, or you can put it on each of their little tablets or phones that they have. So it's a real step forward. The other step forward, and just not that's happening today, we talked about, is the Maverick Mini. Okay? It's less than 250 grams. Therefore, it's good for anybody that wants to start. You don't have to worry about registering it. You don't have to worry about most of the drone laws, but you cannot violate any law. Okay, so bottom line, the laws are still there, but you don't have to worry about the idiosyncrasies of the law. Okay, as long as you don't fly over people, you don't fly at night, you don't have major problems. Plus, you can carry it in the pocket. So for those who want a drone, like our cell phones, most people now are carrying a phone in the pocket. The first phone that I bought years ago, the closest tower here was in Georgetown. I had to go on a hill in Harker Heights in my motorhome, to talk on the cell phone. Okay? Now they've got that, and that was a big, heavy one. Weighed probably about 12 to 15 pounds. Now I've got 2 in my back pocket. And not only will it be a cell phone, it's a computer, it's a video camera, it's a photography camera. It tells me the azimuth, it tells me where the moon is, it tells me almost anything I want to know we can get from that. So basically that's the world that we're moving into now. Things are cheaper and they're smaller. So with this drone, for those people who are first responders, firemen, policemen, what they call emergency preparedness people, you can carry it in your pocket. You don't need to buy one big one for $1,000 or $2,000. And you can get video and photography compatible with the industry. So, there's another one that we use for teaching, so some of you have young people here. And it's fairly new on the market too. Alex has worked with one with us in the past. The problem is they were really good engineers, but really didn't understand society. So they made this very little complicated device that is unbelievable with what it does. But it's for the world of programming. So you can program it with C++, or you could use Scratch. So most of our kids are learning Scratch at school. We put on workshops on that. We put in a workshop at Coppergrove Library on Scratch in January. And so now you can program some of these devices, drones and robots, with Scratch, okay, which means block coding. You don't have to write 100 characters of code, make one mistake and it doesn't work. You bring the box over. In other words, drone take off, drone stay there 10 seconds, drone land. You just bring block, block, block. So the new one by DJI we just got too, it just came in yesterday. Alex will be able to learn to control it with code. Whereas the other one, the older one we got, he kind of gave up on because you have to write all the code. Okay, it did a little bit in blocks, but it was not very effective. But anyway, this came out from DJI too, and it's called Tello, T-E-L-L-O. That is more of a toy drone than these other ones. But as far as a learning tool for middle school and below, it's ideal. For middle school and above, then you're moving into another world of drones, and that would be like the Air or this one here. It's still not in the professional world. You're not in the $2,000-3,000 market. So we've got all kinds of exhibits here. You can put your hands on them, ask the questions of Alex. He's our drone expert for what he's doing, and so on. If you go buy a drone for Christmas, now's the time to ask questions. I said, we're going to start probably once a month having workshops here. This is the first one as initiation, so we want you to see the drones and kind of decide what you want to do, and if you're going to buy one at Christmas, hopefully buy the right one. A lot of people buy the wrong one and lasts about a month in the kids' hands and then it's gone, and so on. And then we'll have more hands-on workshops, where actually if you look at some of the stuff we've got over there, during the wintertime, even a lot of experts do not fly drones outside. But to keep the skill level up, it's a skill level, just like football or basketball. You know, if you don't throw that football for a year, you're not going to be as good as you would if you did it every year, or basketball, or volleyball, anything. That's a muscle-controlled exercise or sport. So what they do during the winter is indoors. So we've got all kinds of things here. Alex has got one going you can watch where the drone follows the truck around. You can play games, you can do races with them. Over here we've got kits that you can see that they can go through hoops. We can lower a hoop here and have them fly through it. You can do timed exercise or timed games with them. You can play all kinds of games inside. Plus, just as in the real airplane pilot world, we have simulation games. So we've got a set of computers, about 6 of them, where they can actually play drones against each other on the computer and never have their hands on a real drone. There's simulation programs, just like at Fort Hood. To learn piloting in an airplane, more than likely you're going to learn it in a simulator first, okay? Or a tank. You do it on a big screen with a computer. And so we have 2 or 3 programs that are simulation programs for flying drones. We have one other thing. Oh, the last thing over on this side, if you want to look at it, for those who are the nerds, whatever you want to call those kind of people and children that want to move in, most of our kids, including our girls, know how to solder. Okay, they know how to do 3D printing. Christmas time, they 3D print Christmas trees, put lights in them. You can make the lights blink with coding. And I have a microchip over here, Arduino for microcontroller, and Raspberry Pi for microcomputer. Anyway, also, we have kits over here. You can build the kit. You can buy it, and the kids can build their own drone. Not only can they build their own drone, but the one kit over there, you can 3D print your drone. Okay, the one you will receive got 3D printed in red, white, and blue, and so on. So 3D printed, it's a kit. So the hardware, you don't have to worry about the very complex management system for the PCB. That'll all come with the drone. And for the 3D printing, they'll actually give you the STL file. So you download the STL file, which is the file that runs your 3D printer. Or you can make it yourself. Our kids can make some stuff, and probably most of these easy things on Tinkercad. You can get on the computer, work Tinkercad, and you can do computer circuits, electronic circuits, and 3D printing. So this young lady has printed out several name tags for her family, luggage tabs, you can put your name on them. There's all kinds of things that kids can do. So we're in hopes that you get more young people to join us and so on while you're here. I do have a handout for those of you who want to know more. There's a lot more you've got to know as of when you leave here if you're going to buy a drone, such as what the airspaces are. Before you take off, as of 1 October, it's mandatory. And what the FAA is doing, interesting enough, everybody says, well, how are they going to control it? Okay? They can't control it. Well, you're right. They're not going to hire a policeman, but the fact is, if your neighbor calls a policeman, and he comes, and you don't have the license in your pocket, you will be arrested and fined. Okay? That went into October 1. So, what they're doing is following the FCC. So, Alex has 3 radio licenses. He got the radio license from a test and examinations and testers from ham radio operators. So the ham radio operators do all the policing for the radio licenses. The FCC doesn't. So all the training is done by ham radio operators. All the testing is done by them. So it's really your neighbor and your friends are the one that's going to be your police force, your tester, and your examiner. Okay? What we will probably come here is what they call CBO, community-based organization. In other words, with this one with the FDA, and it's not all yet, but the latest word is that the test will probably go into effect before Christmas. It will be given by organizations such as this, that the FDA authorizes, and so on. And it probably will not be a hard test as a radio license, because they want to make sure that kids can fly, okay? But they want to make sure that they know what they're doing, that they don't make some absolutely dumb errors, such as flying in front of an airplane. Okay? So the test probably is going to end up being given more what we programmed instruction. You take the test, they tell you what you need to know before, they give you 2 hours of instruction with slides and so on, then you take the test afterwards. So basically they give you all the information to pass the test. So that has been called a test, a mandatory test. So more than likely that will go into effect before Christmas for anybody who buys a Christmas drone. So any questions? Anybody? No? Okay, as I said, you're welcome to ask questions of any of our experts here, get your hands on any equipment, and I highly recommend that you pick something up, because with the drones, you kind of need to know how fragile they are. You know, if you drop it, it's going to break. Well, the new one coming out, I was going to show a video, but if you want to see it, go on YouTube for the Maverick Pro or Magic Mini, and I'm going to crash this thing. And the guy shows about an 8-minute video where he takes that new drone. Okay, it's unbelievable. He puts fire on it, okay, from a torch. He takes a hose and runs a hose on it. He takes it and flies it into a tree 3 times. No damage. What else? Oh, he put a glass of water on top of it, which we're interested in. And he filled the glass quarter full. It wasn't glass, it was plastic. Quarter full, and the drone moves with it. So the new drone is built for kids, the absolute beginners, and for tough stuff. Okay, some of these are not. You'll see if some of these drones, if you drop it on the floor, it's gone. Doesn't matter if it's $1,000 or not. So again, we're looking into making these things much more durable. You know, especially if you think about it, if you're going to carry that thing around in your pocket, the way people drive and when they run and so on, it's got to be very durable. So hopefully it's going to hold up to the standards. So anyway, thank you all for coming, and you're welcome to ask questions and look at all the equipment over there. We've got different tables set up. This one over here is more or less for beginners. Bill, where's your stuff? Did you put it away? Anyway, he's here. You can ask him questions. And Alex is here going to show you how to do some of the indoor stunts. So, okay, thank you all.